Hello and welcome to Hope for Dystonia. My name is Federico and you can call me Fede. I am the creator of Hope for Dystonia. I developed the Hope for Dystonia method in order to get my own life back. After 4 years, I had a hard time speaking, chewing, and walking because of dystonia. And as of the filming of this video in 2024, I have been sharing this method with clients for 5 years. And if you too are on a journey of healing, I highly recommend that you check out the link in the description below. It will lead you to the video on the 8 steps of the Hope for Dystonia recovery roadmap. Invaluable information that I wish somebody had shared with me when I was in the thick of it. So I am really excited to share today's video with you. It is all about empowerment, and I'll share with you 5 tips that I hope will empower you on your journey and will help you take the journey of healing into your own hands. Before we get into it, I have a quick disclaimer, namely that we will be talking about health, but we are not talking about medicine. So I invite you to make your medical decisions with your medical providers. Nothing of what I say is medical advice. Okay, so let's get right into it. 5 empowering tips on your recovery journey. Number 1 is start recognizing your sovereignty. So this is your body, right? This is your nervous system that we're talking about. You are the only one that is receiving these beautiful signals from your nervous system, be they bad, good, pleasant, unpleasant, functional, dysfunctional, they're yours, right? You are the only one that is receiving all of this information. And you are the only one that can actually begin to shift these patterns around. You are the only one that can actually begin to do things differently when it comes to your movements, to the patterns of regulation or dysregulation that happen in response to life, right? How agitated or calm you're able to be when things are challenging, and so on and so forth. You have that power. So the first step is start recognizing your sovereignty. You can do this because this is your body. All right. So it is okay, and it is sometimes necessary to find allies in doctors of different kinds, on practitioners of different types, but no one can really take your place in this journey. So you can do this because you are sovereign. All right. Number 2, second tip, surrender. I used to phrase this a bit differently to be even more dramatic, and I would tell my clients, the first thing that I want you to do is give up. What I mean is that when we first are confronted with symptoms of dystonia that seem debilitating, our first temptation is to fight them, is to try hard to contract even more and be even more tense in order to overpower the patterns that are preventing us from living life the way we want to. And that is exactly the wrong way to go about it, right? Because we are just creating more tension. And so when we surrender, we begin to recognize the truth of what I mentioned in my first tip. We begin to recognize that those signals that we're receiving, including the spasms, including the dysregulation, including the anxiety, the depression that might come with what we're dealing with, all of those things belong, right? We're talking about precious, precious information from our nervous systems that is asking us to look within, that is asking us to look at the parts of us that have been struggling. Our nervous systems, our bodies are asking us to pay attention to the wounds that we have within and to all the patterns that we are engaging in order to survive. And this is an opportunity really to begin to listen. And so when we surrender, we say, all right, I'm done fighting you. right? I'm done thinking that I know better and that I can overpower you. Show me what you got. What do I need to know? What part of me needs my care and my attention? And you'd be amazed to see the degree of physical change that can happen when we just do this. Surrender, stop fighting. Okay, then the third tip that I have for you is to begin to cultivate a compassionate dialogue with yourself, to really begin to welcome the signals that you are surrendering to from the heart. So that means not trying to discipline yourself, not trying to censor anything, but really welcoming what is happening with care from a place of compassion, right? So mindfulness and self-compassion really are big parts of my work at Hope for Dystonia, big part of how I got my life back, big part of so many transformations that I've seen in clients. And the reason is that when we bring care to the parts of us that are screaming at us through our symptoms, we are able to then give the parts of us that are hurting what they need. And we're able to create shifts in our experience, in our patterns, right? So sometimes we just need to hear a word of affirmation, of love, of care that validates the pain that we've been in. Because for a whole lifetime, maybe we have tried to suppress the pain that was there, and we've tried to just power through life. And that approach of powering through life without recognizing the pain within makes us sick. Or maybe sometimes we need to recognize that certain needs are not met. And so we recognize that we're feeling resentful and that our bodies are screaming, no, I don't want to be in this situation that I'm in. I don't want to be in the job that I'm in. I don't want to be in the relationship that I'm in. I don't want my boundaries to be violated in whatever way they may be violated. And so when we open our hearts to the signals that are coming up, we're able to work with the truth of what's happening, and we're able to compassionately then respond and take action to make sure that our needs are met. That only happens when we open our hearts to ourselves. As long as we're stuck in the mentality of discipline, then we continue to just power through life according to the scripts that we have been conditioned into. And healing comes, we stop doing that. All right. Okay, so tip number 4 is to recognize that dystonia is not happening to you. It is happening for you. This is a tough one, but I can tell you that I've seen this realization click for clients over and over and over again. It is easy to say, oh, I'm so miserable, poor me. This is, such a tragedy. I am not minimizing how difficult it can be. Believe me, I've spent months in bed, unable to do much, resentful of every little bit of pain that I was experiencing, watching my friends build their careers and get married and live their lives. And I was just stuck in bed. I was so angry and so resentful and so miserable. And I really felt like a victim. But the minute I started doing what I mentioned in the previous steps, I started recognizing that, oh, if I actually connect to the spasms and to the signals that I'm getting through the nervous system, I actually can develop an awareness of my body that is transformative, right? So there is a growth that happens there that would not have been possible without the pain that I was experiencing. If I'm able to recognize the pain that I feel within, right, that psychological pain, I can recognize that I can bring love to that pain, and I can make new choices. I can find freedom from the patterns that were keeping me stuck. And so I am growing thanks to the pain, the anxiety, the depression, whatever it is that I'm experiencing. And had I just lived my life on autopilot, I would not have grown in those ways. And so recognizing that our struggles are stepping stones in our growth, and they're not here to make us miserable. They're here to connect us with something larger, something bigger, something more powerful within ourselves. And so tip number 5 at this point is really to adopt this approach described in the previous 4 tips to the entirety of your experience, to really be holistic about your journey of recovery, recognizing that the opportunities for growth don't exist just when it comes to finding more regulation in your cranial nerves. They exist with food, for example, and finding ways to support your nervous system in getting rid of toxicity that might be stuck and might be preventing the nervous system from communicating properly. Opportunities for growth exist when it comes to relating to the wounding that we carry within, the traumas that we have experienced. Opportunities for growth exist when it comes to finding more symmetry in our temporomandibular joints and our occlusion and our upper cervical vertebrae, our posture, and all of these things. So the opportunity for empowerment here is in recognizing that there are so many avenues that we can look at and work through in order to find greater symmetry, greater harmony, greater peace, and ultimately to find healing, right? And get our lives back. And so this is really the approach that is described in those 8 steps of the Hope for Dystonia Recovery Roadmap. Those that are described in the video that is linked below that I highly recommend that you check out. And really, the Hope for Dystonia method as a whole is about empowerment. It's about giving you control. Because really, nobody can give it to you. It's right there. It's yours. This is your body. Hope for Dystonia is all about helping you recognize that you can create change, that you can shift things, and you have that power right now. So if you haven't checked out that video, I highly recommend that you do. And I hope that these 5 tips help you feel more empowered in your journey, that they help you relate to yourself with gratitude for your experience, whatever that experience might be, that they help you cultivate kindness towards yourself. And ultimately, that is the gateway to transformation and healing. So please like and subscribe if you haven't yet, and check out the video linked below. Thank you for your attention, and I will see you on hopefordystonia.com. Much love to you. Goodbye.